Very happy to be there. So it's almost the end of the day, so be strong. And I will try to have things very simple for this last talk of the day on this room. So first of all, I will give a huge thanks to the staff and the organization for your huge work they've done for this conference. And if you want to follow the presentation at your own, you can use the QR code or the URL just here. And everything will be available on the internet, on GitHub. So I'm Michael. You can find me on the internet, on Twitter and GitHub. I am one of the traffic maintainers since 2 years now, and I am working for Containous. So Containous is the company behind Traefik. We develop an open source project, so Traefik, and we also work on the enterprise counterpart, Traefik Enterprise Edition. And we are majority of technical experts, and we are distributed. We are mostly based in France, but we have some colleagues in US, in Canada, in Puerto Rico, in Germany, in Poland, and in Belgium. What problem do I want to solve? Or why did we build Traefik? As you already noticed, you have a lot of evolution since the last 3 decades in the way we do the architecture of our platform and services. So recently, we have that trend of microservices that gave us the promise that by splitting your monolithic application in tiny set of services, you will have less maintenance burden, you will have more capabilities, and you will be able to deliver faster and update faster too. But everyone knows what's happened when you start to do some microservices. You discover new problems that you didn't even talk about before. They start to rise because by shifting the pattern, you encounter new contexts and such new problems. One of these new problems is how to locate the service at the given moment of time when I have a request entering in my platform. Or in other words, how I can manage the incoming request. And I know that this request needs to go to the microservices version 2.1 or on the service A, or to the microservice version 3 of the service B. To resume how we manage to route this request from the outside to the right service inside your cluster. As you can imagine, we are not the first there. Since the last 8 years, the amount of tools that help you to overcome this challenge, and not only this one, have exploded. We have so much tool for containerization, orchestration, service discovery. The much complicated part is to choose the right tool as for today. But all of these tools have one weakness: configuration file. For each new tool, you have to learn a new configuration system, you have to write it, you have to maintain it, and you have to maybe template it. So sorry for the YAML lovers, but the best way to write YAML, which is valid, is to use the rule on your screen. With that rule, you are sure that the notation is always correct. So what do you think if I told you that Traefik can solve this issue of configuration? The idea of Traefik say, okay, you always have to write a little bit of configuration file, that's right. But what do you think if you have that tools that allow you to do not write this configuration at least 80% because the information is already somewhere else in your system? And let's come Traefik. Traefik is at the entrance of your platform and can be named edge router, reverse proxy. It's like NGX or HA proxy. Its goal is to route the incoming request from outside domain inside your platform. So Traefik is an open source project, MIT license. It started 3 years ago by Emile Vosges, and if you encounter some issue and you want to add more things on it, don't hesitate to open an issue on GitHub, containous/traffic. We need some feedback and some maybe new feature for traffic. So as you can maybe imagine with the logo, it's written in Go. So the Go language from Google. It's low level enough for a reverse proxy. It's quite popular. We have more than 350 contributors on GitHub, and we have more than 700 million downloads of the Docker Hub. This is the only KPI we have about the usage of traffic in the world. So let's deep dive a bit in the core concept. So we know what problem we want to solve. We want to being able to easily route the request from the outside to inside without to write as much configuration as we can. We only want that you pass your time on the critical things, so your application, and don't pass time to configure the reverse proxy. So do you remember this diagram? This diagram is only for marketing stuff, so I will try to simplify a bit. So we are here to understand how this is working and how we help you to solve this problem. So we will just open the box and jump inside traffic. And for that, I will take a single example. One domain name for one website running inside one Docker container and one traffic instances. So maybe I don't know if you see correctly, it's written auto discovery, and there is a line between traffic and Docker. So this line means that traffic will auto discover its configuration and will be able to dynamically configure itself based on what it can find in the Docker provider. Let's start with the first concept, the provider. So step one, we have to tell to traffic what provider of application that you need to route the request inside. So you need to connect traffic to Docker or to Kubernetes or to a service discovery like Consul or to ECS or to Mesos or to Marathon. Everything is possible with traffic. And when traffic has that knowledge, which means some credential and an access to the Docker API, it is ready to fetch information. Another concept is the entry point. This is maybe the only thing you have to configure. You have to tell traffic on which port is going to listen on. It's really depend on your configuration and cannot be guessed by fetching the provider. So that's the only static information that traffic require inside the config or command line flag. I will show you some example just after. So this is the entry point. You can have multiple if you want to listen on port 80 and 443, for example. One entry point say, okay, I have one port, whatever domain, whatever content of the request, and there are some associated properties. Do I want TLS termination on that entry point, or do I want pure HTTP? One other concept is here only for your knowledge because you don't have to take care about. There are backend. Backend maps a running application inside Docker in your backend system. These objects are generated, maintained, and updated by traffic without anything for you to do. It's extracting by fetching the provider information. For example, a Docker container has an IP and an expose port. So traffic watch the Docker API, and when the container restart, or is rescheduled somewhere else, it will be able to get the IP and the port and will materialize that as a backend object. And it will be able to start forwarding requests to this container. Finally, the last concept is how we connect the entry point to the backend. How we connect entering a request to the entry point to the backend. For that, there are front ends. Front ends are objects that say, okay, I receive a request. Let's analyze this request. Eventually change it and route that request to the backend based on a rule. This rule can be a host rule, a path route, a header route, or a method route. You can also change the request, rewrite the path, change some header, add some, remove some. That part is almost automated. You don't have to tell traffic this route. Traffic will fetch or guess these rules from the provider. These are meta information that are deployed with the service. So when traffic will only fetch this information, infer and create the rule for you. So in practice, you have an incoming request on host backoffice.domain.com. It's come on the entry points HTTP port 80. Traffic will detect the host, and this host match with a front-end rule, so the request is going through the backend object and is forwarded to the correct container. I think that sometimes it's better to have some example. So one of the main things of traffic is keep it simple. So on this snippet of code is the declaration of a Docker Compose service. So this Docker Compose service, its name will be entry point. It will use the latest traffic v1.7 image. It's exactly 1.7.12. We have just released a version this night for security reason. And you have some flags you can pass on it. So I will tell traffic to listen to the Docker API with the flag --docker. And I have also to mount the Docker socket because I want to allow traffic to be able to connect to the Docker API. So on the community edition, this is we do things like that. So do you remember the flag Acme? So Acme will enable Let's Encrypt and will manage your TLS certificates on traffic. So what does it mean? So first of all, Acme is a protocol to request a certificate to Let's Encrypt or other certificate provider. That means you have a complete protocol that says, hello, I would want a TLS certificate for that domain. You request that to a public provider. So Let's Encrypt is free and the most obvious one. There are few steps to follow before the provider delivers you a certificate. Traffic will be able to manage for you this step. Generate, renew the certificate without for you to do anything. You just have to put the flag --acme. How? The most important things in the Acme protocol is the challenge. When you request a certificate, you have to prove that you are the person you seek to be. So for that, Let's Encrypt or any Acme provider will challenge you. There are three kinds of challenge: the HTTP challenge, the TLS challenge, and the DNS challenge. The HTTP challenge, you will Let's Encrypt will ask you to put a specific UID on the specific HTTP page. It will try to connect to with the host on the specific path and will verify this UID. If the UID is correct, so Let's Encrypt will deliver the certificates and traffic will clean this temporary HTTP page. For the TLS challenge, Let's Encrypt try to connect in HTTPS to your web server. And inside the certificate during the uncheck, there is the token. So if the token is okay, Let's Encrypt will deliver you a certificate. Traffic will be able to install it and remove the temporary certificate. And for the DNS challenge, Traffic will be able to create a DNS, a TXT record on your DNS provider. And Let's Encrypt will check this TXT record and verify the UID. If the UID is correct, it will send to Traffic the certificate. Traffic will install the certificate, and Traffic will clean this TXT record. So let's jump to a demo. I will show you how it is simple to configure Traffic. Do you see my screen correctly? Yeah. So this is a simple Docker Compose stack. I have few services. The goal of this small example is to say, okay, I want to have a software forge that give to the user a website with some link to the Jenkins server, the Git server, a TTYD. It's to illustrate the WebSocket. And I also, WAMI service, it's just to show you how it is possible to customize some headers. So we will go deeper on this example. So the name of the proxy will be age. So this is the traffic instances. I will use the traffic image v1.7.12, and I will use the two args -- docker that tells to traffic to listen to the Docker API, and -- API will expose the dashboard on port 8080. As you can see, I only expose the port 80 on my machine. I mount the Docker socket. It's just to be able to communicate with the Docker daemon. And I have put some labels because I call that traffic section because I want to expose my dashboard through traffic. So traffic will expose the dashboard on port 8080, and I tell to traffic if a request comes from dashboard.docker.localhost, it will redirect the traffic to the port 80. And I had a comment just here because it is also possible to configure traffic with a TOML file. So this is how it looks like. So on this TOML file, I define few entry points: HTTP with an address on port 80 and HTTPS on the port 443. I enable TLS on this entry point, and with these two parameters, API and Docker, I enable the API and the Docker provider. So I will start my traffic. So okay, so my traffic has started. Let's see if we see the dashboard. Sorry, I'm not on the right screen. Dashboard.docker.localhost. Okay, it works. As you can see, this is a simple dashboard of traffic that presents which are the front end available for traffic and which are the backend linked. So as you can see, when the host match dashboard.docker.localhost, I forward the request on the container IP on port 80. So it's working well. So now I want to deploy my web application. My web application is very simple. It's based on Hugo, gohugo.io, that allow me to do some very simple things with HTML. I don't like HTML, so I try to have something very simple. So on my compose file, I put an environment variable, external host. This external host environment variable is defined in my .env file, and it will be web.docker.localhost. So I will start my front end. It will be web. And as you can see, we have just refreshed, and traffic will automatically detect this new container and will reload this configuration itself. And without losing any request, because we don't have to restart the process, all is in memory, and we just swap the old configuration table with the new one. So I can access now to my page web.docker.localhost. And okay, I have everything for the web part. And now, as you can see, I try to access to web.docker.localhost/Jenkins. I want to expose my Jenkins on the specific host with a specific path. And to do that, I put two labels on my traffic. It's a very simple Jenkins image. I just use expose two ports, and I pass an environment variable to say that the prefix will be /Jenkins, because otherwise Jenkins not work very well if you don't specify this one. And after, I just have to put the rule that I want to match. So the rule will be web.docker.localhost, and the path will be Jenkins. So everything going through web.docker.localhost/Jenkins will be redirected to this container. And I have to specify this port because Jenkins exposes two ports. And I want to have all the HTTP requests going through the port 8080. So let's deploy Jenkins. So if I try to access to my Jenkins, I think it will take time. Yeah, Jenkins needs to start. It's a Java application. Yes, okay, it's working. Now I am able to configure my Jenkins. I don't want to go further with Jenkins. And on the next example, I will show you how it is possible to rewrite the past when the request will be sent to the server. For that, I will use Gitea. Gitea is a small Git server, and I will use the HTTP interface to show you how it works. So on the Git server, it's a very simple image, and I have also two labels because I want to have the HTTP part is exposed on this port and not on 22. So I will use this port. I will match web.docker.localhost /git server, but I want to rewrite Git server and send the request to the slash to the backend because Git server only listen on slash and not on Git server. So to do that, I can use pass prefix strip, and pass prefix strip will detect /git server and will remove it before forwarding the request to the backend. So I will deploy my Git server, and it should be accessible through the web page. Yes, it's working. And now I will show you how WebSocket can be handled with traffic. So as you can see, the service has not yet deployed. So I will deploy this service, and this service will just start a WebSocket on the specific container. So there are only one label for this, and I will also use a pass prefix strip because TTYD listen only on slash and not on TTYD, /TTYD. But I don't have to put over configuration to say traffic, you need to manage WebSocket. Everything is going totally transparent. So I will start my TTYD. And it's working. So I think okay, so I have the IP of the container and the host name of the container. So it's working. Cool. And in my last example, I will show you a very simple thing. It's the WAMI service. We use this WAMI service for a lot of demonstration and for a lot of tests on traffic. And we have two labels. So we have the labels that say, okay, I want to be able to forward requests. They arrive on wami.docker.localhost. So this environment variable is defined just here, wami.docker.localhost. And I want to add some custom request header. So what does it mean? It does when the request will arrive on traffic, traffic will be able to analyze the request and to add an header on it. So I will add this header. And I will start my WAMI. Okay, so I start my WAMI. As you can see, the WAMI has been available on traffic, so I can access to my WAMI. And okay, so the WAMI service will print all the header of the request and the IP of the container. So as you can see, we can show some x-forwarded headers, and we can also show traffic headers that I just add. It's also possible to remove some headers too. Now I will show you how traffic can detect new container when the container is scaled up. So I will scale up my WAMI service, and here we go. And traffic will automatically detect new container on the fly and will be able to route request on the WAMI. So now if I refresh the page, as you can see, the IP and the host name change. So traffic do some load balancing on the 5 containers of WAMI. So let's continue on the presentation. So I show you how traffic works with Docker, but it's also possible to have traffic in Kubernetes. So just to be quick, so the atomic part and Kubernetes are a pod. If I want to access to this pod or the number of pod, there's the concept of service. This service are layer 4 for TCP and UDP, and this service say, okay, I have one unique IP and I want to load balance to that unique IP to all the pods composing my application. In our case, there are 2 applications with 2 replica. And there are now the concept of ingress. the ingress are the way to extract the routing rules. So if you want to enter to my Kubernetes cluster, on that hostname, you should send a request to the service A or B or whatever. Traffic will listen the Kubernetes API and will detect change on the ingress and services and will be able to automatically configure itself based on the event of Kubernetes. So you have to deploy traffic and you have to deploy your application with the ingress you want to route, and you stop thinking about the reverse proxy. Traffic will automatically configure itself based on the event. Did you say YAML? So I'm not a big fan of YAML, but with Kubernetes, we need to do some YAML. So this is a simple example how we declare an ingress object on Kubernetes. So to be able to use traffic, you just have to change the annotation ingress class and change to traffic. When traffic will start on Kubernetes, it will automatically be registered as a traffic because traffic is an implementation of ingress controller in Kubernetes. So in this example, I saw every request arrived on mycompany.org/wami will be forwarded to the service wami on port 80. I haven't too many time to speak about all the features of traffic, but I can traffic can also be connected with some tracing system like Jaeger or Zipkin. You can also export some metrics with Prometheus, InfluxDB, Datadog. It's also possible to manage your wildcard certificate. You can also have some rate limiting, circuit breaker, health check too. And that's pretty much it for the open source part. But what if traffic as a single binary goes down now? You cannot manage the incoming request. Time to traffic be up and ready to accept new requests. This is why we have made traffic distributed. So it's an enterprise version because we are few developers and we are few people in the company that need to eat at the end of the month. So we need to do some things to be able to win some money and to propose a very interesting feature for the company. So we have did it distributed. How it works? It's a cluster-based, RAF cluster-based cluster, sorry, and it splits in two parts, the control plane and the data plane. So we have decided to split this part for some reason I will explain you just after, but the control plane will manage your configuration, will listen to the API, and it will detect and will transform that in the traffic configuration, and this traffic and this configuration will be pushed to the data plane. And the data plane will only manage the incoming request and don't have access to the API and to some secret and things like that. They are only responsible to manage incoming connection. So the goal is to provide some high availability. So when one of your node goes down, so the traffic is distributed to the other nodes. When you can run it on Metal, on Swarm, or on Kubernetes, actually. It also provides you some safety because you need some credential to be able to connect to Let's Encrypt with your private key and things like that, and you need also some credential to be able to be connected to the backend provider, Docker or Kubernetes. And you don't want to have this credential on the place where you have some external request incoming. So this is also why we are split in two components. So the control nodes in your private part of your cluster will store all the private information and will push the configuration to the data node. The data node will be on the public part and will take care only of forwarding requests to your backend. And finally, Traffic Enterprise Edition provides you scalability. Node responsible to forwarding the request can scale up during the burst and scale down to consume less resource and to be less expensive. So we try to abstract a lot of things. So we want to have things as simple as traffic. So we have built a command line tool, Traffic-Cutter, that allow you to install, to backup, and to deploy some configuration on your cluster. Because everyone knows how it is complicated to install and to manage a cluster. So it's in free trial, so you can browse this URL, fill the form, and you will receive a key for 30 days. But as you know, Traefik is open source. Traefik Enterprise Edition is based on the open source version, so it's built on top of Traefik open source. So we don't forget the open source part, and we have released a few months ago the first alpha of Traefik 2.0. This is our first breaking version since 3 years. Why we have decided to do this breaking version? It's because the tools just grow up very fast. There are a lot of things new in this ecosystem, and we want to be up to date and to allow our user to have the last technology and the last concept in this domain. So we have worked on the documentation. We have revamped all the documentation to simplify for the newcomers. From the feedback from the user on the V1, they say us that it was really hard to search things and to understand how things working in Traefik. So we have tried to work on this part. So if you have some ideas, some comments, and things like that, don't hesitate to reach me on Twitter or open an issue on GitHub. And we have tried to add more diagrams because some visual things are simplest than a lot of text. So we have decided to put more diagrams to understand concepts and how things works. About concepts, so we have clarified some concepts. So I tell you it's a breaking version. So we have the entry point stays the entry point, but we have renamed the routers. So the front end now are the routers, and in the routers there are two parts, the rules and the middleware. The rules, we have improved the rules too. I will speak about that later. And we have also improved the middleware part. And the backend has been renamed to services, but it's still the same. So with these routing rules, so we want to be able to give our user more flexibility about the rules. So as I can show you just before, when I want to have a specific host and a path, I can only have an and between my terms, and I cannot have an or. So with this new routing syntax, it's possible to have or. So in this example, I want to have api.mycompany.com on path v2, or if the domain name is api-v2.mycompany.com, and the request will be forwarded to the same service. We have reworked on the middleware too. So middlewares are pieces of software that you will be churned the request on the go. So you can have some rewrite, for example, or authentication. So it's a reusable pieces. You can create some workflow, sort these middlewares, and you can have multiple workflow for specific use case. And you can attach this workflow to a specific routers and reuse it across all the routing system. And finally, we support TCP. So now Traefik is a layer 4 compliant. So it was the issue number 10 on the project. So since 3 years, a lot of people ask us to implement TCP, but to do that, we had to do this breaking version. So we support TCP, and UDP is under development currently. Very quickly, this is how the new configuration system works. So now you have always the entry point system. So you define a specific port for this entry point. Now you have to specify which type of router it is. So in this case, it will be HTTP. I will match on the host, and I will forward the request to the service one. I will do the TLS termination on Traefik part in the second snippet of code, if you saw my mouse. On this one, on the TCP router, we define the TCP router. We will match on the host SNI, and we'll be able to forward the request to the service, and we terminate the TLS connection on the TCP level on this example. And the last one is exactly the same, but we don't terminate the TLS communication. We send the encrypted data as is with the pass-through parameter. So what does it mean is, in one entry point, you are able to have some HTTP, HTTPS, some TCP with TLS termination and some TCP without TLS termination, depending on your rule. So a lot of flexibility, and you don't have to open a lot of ports. You can open just few ports. And with this small set of configuration, you can do that. Traffic will analyze the packet and will be able to route the request accordingly. So I saw that I have a little bit of time, so I will try to show you how TCP works. So give me a sec. Okay. Here we are. Okay. So it's a very simple example. So I have a sheet that. Okay, I will open a new terminal and I'm okay. So first of all, in this example, I have a small Docker Compose file with a reverse proxy, so it's traffic 2.0. So I asked to traffic to enable his API to listen on the provider Docker. So now we have prefix providers that will allow us to have more flexibility inside the traffic configuration. And I tell to traffic to use a specific TLS certificate that has been generated on my local machine. And I create an entry point. His name is Mongo. And this port. And I expose this port on my local machine. I mount the Docker socket, the certificates, and the configuration file. And after the Mongo, I have two Mongo instances. So Mongo 1. So in this Mongo 1, I will do some TLS termination on traffic. On the Mongo 2, I will pass through, so I will let Mongo terminate the TLS. And on my Mongo Express, I will do some HTTP all on the same port. So Docker Compose -d. I'm not sure traffic will be able to start because the port 80 is already used. I don't kill my previous down. Okay. Up. Okay. So I don't want to generate certificates. I just start my stack. I will not update my host because it's already done. And I will try to connect to the first client, the Mongo server, sorry. So I will tell to my Mongo client that the host is mongo1.local. So this host name is defined just here, as you can see, the host name. So I can access to this one on the correct port. I will use a SSL for my Mongo client. I will pass them the different key. Okay, I have forgot to copy. Okay, I am connected to the first Mongo, so I haven't DBS yet. I will create one. Okay, I will add an entry on it. Okay, I will show that the DB is created. So on this instances, so I let traffic to terminate the TLS. So, okay, it's working. We can see the new DB. And now I will try to connect to the second MongoDB, always through traffic. And I will let Mongo finalize the TLS. So show DBS. Okay, I haven't the database. So I am able to connect to the Mongo and let Mongo finalize the TLS. And traffic just pass through. And now I will try to access to my dashboard to see if it's working. And as you can see, I just tell to my traffic to my Mongo Express to use the Mongo one. So as you can see, through traffic, I'm able to see the DB. Okay, let's go on the presentation. So there are a lot of new features will arrive in 2.0. We have write a blog post, and we call for contributor because we need your help to finalize this version. Currently, it is alpha stage, and we hope to have a beta version very quickly and to have a final version before the end of the year. So I have some stickers, and by the way, we are hiring, so if you want to try to apply, just run this container and try to solve the problem. And we'll see if some of you will arrive to apply to this job. So thank you very much for your time, for listening, your time, and enjoy the rest of the conference.
And if you have any questions, please raise your hand. I'll hand you the microphone. No questions?
Thank you very much.